He bought a cheap ranch at auction, but it came with a gorgeous alien wife. The first time Eli Mercer heard about the auction, he thought it was another one of those get-rich-quick scams where some poor soul buys a busted lawnmower for $50 and calls it an investment. But this one was different. The flyer came in his mailbox folded between a pizza coupon and a bill collector's letter that looked suspiciously like a ransom note. Big red letters screamed, "Farm equipment liquidation, 1 day only. Cattle, land, and everything must go." The date was circled in black ink, as though the universe itself had RSVP'd on Eli's behalf. "Farm equipment?" he muttered, scratching his 3-day stubble while standing in his kitchen, which smelled faintly of leftover chili dogs and regret. "I don't own a farm. I can barely keep my cactus alive." Still, something about it nagged at him. Maybe it was the way the paper was printed on weird, glossy stock, like it had been made at Kinko's by aliens trying to imitate humans. Maybe it was because his life in Albuquerque had stalled out so badly that an auction for broken tractors sounded like a vacation. Or maybe it was because the only other plan he had for Saturday was binge-watching Walker, Texas Ranger reruns while nursing warm beer. And so, with a sigh and a muttered, "What's the worst that could happen?" Eli drove his rusty Ford pickup out into the desert. The auction was held in a crumbling livestock pavilion 30 miles past nowhere. The place looked like someone had dropped a Walmart and forgot to finish it. A half-broken neon sign buzzed the words, "Live bidding cash only." Inside, the crowd was a strange mix. Old ranchers with sunburnt necks, wide-eyed city hipsters hoping to buy authenticity, and one suspicious guy in a trench coat who looked like he was smuggling ferrets. Eli grabbed a seat near the back. He had no real money to spend, but auctions were fun in a watch other people lose money kind of way. The auctioneer was a wiry man in a bolo tie who spoke faster than a caffeinated auctioneer at a storage unit clearance sale. "Lot 12, antique tractor tire, $10, 15, 20, sold." Eli yawned, checking his phone. No signal. Typical desert. Then the screen at the front flickered. A new listing appeared, bold and strange. "Lot 23, ranch property, New Mexico. Includes land, residence, structures, and legacy rights." "Legacy rights?" Eli mumbled. "What is this, feudal Europe?" The auctioneer cleared his throat. "Opening bid, $5,000. Silence, no one raised a hand. The old ranchers stared at their boots. The hipsters pretended to be fascinated by the snack table. "4,000? The auctioneer tried. 3, 2? Eli, half asleep, raised his hand lazily just to stretch. 2,000 from the gentleman in the faded Metallica t-shirt. Eli froze. "Wait, what? Any other bids? No? Sold for 2,000. The gavel slammed like a gunshot. Eli's jaw dropped. "Hold on, I was just..." "Congratulations, sir." The auctioneer beamed. "You are now the proud owner of the Valari Ranch." "Valari," Eli repeated. "Is that Spanish? Navajo? Klingon?" The paperwork was shoved into his hands with alarming speed. He noticed the deed wasn't entirely in English. Half the text was a swirl of sharp, elegant glyphs that looked like someone had sneezed math equations onto the page. "You'll need to sign here, here, and, oh, just smear some blood on this part. It's traditional," the auctioneer said. Eli laughed nervously. "Ha, funny joke." The auctioneer didn't blink. So Eli signed anyway, muttering, "Well, if I die of identity theft, at least I won't have to pay my credit card bill." The ranch itself was an hour's drive deeper into the desert. By the time Eli pulled up, the sun was bleeding into the horizon, painting the sky orange and purple like an 80s album cover. At first glance, the place looked like every other abandoned ranch in New Mexico. A sagging wooden house, a couple of barns, fences that leaned like drunk cowboys. But then Eli noticed the details. The barbed wire fences weren't rusted. They glowed faintly blue, humming like a bug zapper. The scarecrows in the field had red sensor eyes that tracked his truck. The barn wasn't made of wood, but some kind of metallic fiber that shimmered under the setting sun. Eli parked, stepped out, and muttered, "Well, either I bought a government black site, or I'm about to be probed." He walked up the creaking porch. Dust covered the door handle. He turned it, unlocked. Inside, the ranch house was lived in. The air smelled faintly of spices, not dust. A fire crackled in the stone hearth. On the table sat a bowl of fresh fruit that definitely hadn't come from Walmart. Eli's hair stood on end. Someone was here. He heard movement upstairs. Light footsteps, graceful, deliberate. "Hello?" he called. "Listen, if you're squatting here, don't panic. I'm not the cops. I'm just the idiot who bought this place at a yard sale." The footsteps stopped. A shadow moved at the top of the stairs. Then she appeared. At first, Eli thought he was hallucinating from heat stroke. The woman who stepped into the light was tall, lithe, and unlike anyone he'd ever seen. Her skin glowed faintly like moonlight on water. Her hair shimmered silver blue, cascading down her shoulders. A mask of smooth obsidian covered her lower face, etched with the same alien glyphs as the deed. And in her hands, she held a frying pan like a sword. He stared at him with piercing eyes the color of molten gold. Eli raised his hands slowly. Hi, I'm Eli. I think I just bought your house." She descended the stairs with predator grace, eyes locked on him. The frying pan tilted threateningly. "You bear the seal," she said in a voice that was smooth but sharp. "The contract is bound. By ancient law, this land and I belong to you now." Eli blinked. "Wait, what?" She stopped inches away, towering over him, eyes narrowing. "You are the master of Valeri Ranch, and thus my husband." Eli's brain crashed like a Windows 95 computer. Whoa, time out. Husband? Lady, I thought I was buying a foreclosure, not mailorderbride.com. Her golden eyes glinted dangerously. "Do you reject the binding?" Eli considered. He was broke, single, and his last date had ended with a restraining order. On the other hand, this woman looked like she could snap him in half and then use his bones as chopsticks. "Can I at least get a drink first?" he said weakly. She tilted her head, confused. "A drink? Of what? Beer? Water? I don't know, whatever you space people hydrate with." Her gaze softened slightly, though her frying pan never lowered. "You are strange, human," she murmured, "but you carry the deed, and so you are mine." Eli muttered under his breath. "Great, just great. Only me. Only I could buy a haunted ranch that comes with a supermodel Terminator wife." He didn't notice the way her eyes lingered on him, curious, wary, almost amused. Nor did he notice the faint hum building beneath the floorboards, the way the entire ranch seemed to shiver as though awakening. Somewhere deep beneath the desert, something ancient had stirred, and Eli Mercer, beer-loving, VHS collecting, broke-down mechanic, had just set it free. Eli Mercer had seen some weird stuff in his life. He'd watched his buddy Trevor try to deep fry a frozen turkey, which ended with the fire department and a melted lawn gnome. He'd once gone on a date with a woman who insisted she was part vampire, but still ordered garlic bread. But nothing, and absolutely nothing, had prepared him for standing in a dusty ranch house while a glowing Amazonian alien in a mask called him husband. Eli rubbed his face like maybe he'd just fallen asleep in front of a Twilight Zone marathon and was dreaming this. "Okay, lady, slow down. Let's roll back to the part where I bought a ranch, and apparently also, you." The alien woman studied him with those molten gold eyes, unreadable behind her obsidian mask. She lowered the frying pan at last, though she still held it like a soldier with a sidearm. "My name is Serenia of House Villar," she declared, her voice carrying a strange, ceremonial weight. "I am bound by oath and treaty to whoever holds the deed of Valari Ranch. You hold it, therefore. I am sworn to you." Eli threw his hands in the air. "That's insane. This isn't feudal times. People don't come with houses. I mean, sure, maybe a creepy doll in the attic or a raccoon in the basement, but not wives." Serenia tilted her head, genuinely puzzled. "Wives? I spoke of bondmates. The Valari Empire bound me to this land. Whoever owns it gains my protection, my strength, my life. Eli squinted. Wait, so you're not here to make me dinner and fold laundry? Her eyes narrowed dangerously. Okay, Eli backpedaled, waving his hands. Bad joke, sorry, just clarifying. He dropped into a chair at the dusty kitchen table. Serenia stood like a statue, watching him. He felt her gaze burn through him like an MRI machine. Look, Eli sighed. I didn't know what I was signing. I thought I was buying cheap acreage and maybe a rusted tractor. I didn't know it came with you. Her reply was quiet, almost resentful. Yet you bear the seal. The law does not care for your ignorance. Eli groaned, thunking his head against the table. Story of my life. Signed one piece of paper, boom, trapped for 30 years. First the mortgage, now this. She approached the table, moving with feline grace. Do you reject me? Eli looked up into those molten eyes. She was intimidating, terrifying even. And yet, something in the way her voice faltered told him the question wasn't rhetorical. He sighed again. Reject you? Lady, I can't even reject a sales call without feeling guilty. You're standing here with a frying pan like the Terminator's prettier cousin. I don't think I can reject you. For the first time, her eyes softened. Just a flicker. The evening settled heavy around the ranch. Eli opened the fridge, strangely stocked with fresh produce that looked like it came straight out of a sci-fi greenhouse. He grabbed a beer, cracked it open, and leaned against the counter. Serenia hovered nearby, studying everything he did like he was some bizarre alien himself. He noticed her mask. Sleek, black, etched with strange runes. What's with the mask? He asked casually. Her posture stiffened. A shadow passed over her golden eyes. She turned away. Because if I removed it, you would stop protecting me. That shut Eli up. He wanted to press, but something about her tone, soft, raw, almost pleading, warned him not to. So instead he muttered, Okay, cool. Everyone's got their quirks. I sleep with socks on. You wear a mask. We'll call it even. Her head snapped back toward him. You sleep with socks on? Don't judge me. My feet get cold. The next morning, Eli woke up on the couch, stiff and sore. He was startled to find Serenia perched silently in a chair across the room, watching the sun rise through the window. Do you always do that? He mumbled. Stand guard, she said simply. He rubbed his eyes. From what? Coyotes. Her gaze flickered. Not coyotes. By noon, Eli decided to test her bound protector claim. Out back, the ranch had an old Ford tractor that hadn't started since the Clinton administration. He popped the hood, poking around. Serenia followed like a silent bodyguard. Hand me that wrench, Eli said, pointing. She stared blankly at the pile of tools. Which one is wrench? The metal stick. No, not that one. The other one. The one shaped like regret and bad decisions. Finally, she handed it over. Her grip nearly crushed it like a soda can. Careful, Eli yelped. That's the only tool I own that isn't rusted. She tilted her head. Your species makes weapons that bend. It's not a weapon. Then why are you angry when it breaks? Because, Serenia, in America, we don't cry when relationships end. We cry when tools break. She blinked, clearly confused. Later, Eli tried introducing her to modern human luxuries. He microwaved leftover pizza, sliding the plate toward her. Her eyes went wide at the humming box. What sorcery is this? It's a microwave, Eli said proudly. It makes food hot in 30 seconds. Serenia gasped softly, reverent. A lightning box, a machine that bends time. It's not that deep. She refused to eat until she bowed to the microwave. Eli facepalmed. Lady, if you start worshiping the toaster, we're going to have problems. The comedy kept Eli distracted until that night. That's when the ranch's old satellite dish lit up by itself, broadcasting a strange frequency. Serenia froze, eyes sharp. They found me. Eli swallowed. They? Who's they? The hunters, she whispered. The ones who destroyed Velar. They scour the stars for survivors. They will come for me, and now for you. As if on cue, the night sky trembled. 3 streaks of fire cut across the desert, landing just beyond the ranch's fence line. Eli's beer slipped from his hand. Oh, hell no! The ground shook. Figures emerged from the dust. Hulking, armored shapes with glowing visors, carrying weapons that hummed like angry bees. Serenya's hand tightened around her obsidian blade. Her voice was calm, grim. Stay behind me. But Eli, adrenaline surging, reached for his dad's old shotgun hanging above the mantel. He cocked it with a grin that was half terrified, half reckless. Lady, I've been waiting my whole life for a reason to use this. Let's see how your space bullies like a little American welcome. The desert night was alive with fire. 3 streaks of light cut across the horizon, slamming into the ground just beyond Eli's glowing fences. Dust and static filled the air, the smell of ozone thick and sharp. Eli clutched his shotgun like it was an old friend who'd finally showed up to a bar fight. His heart hammered in his chest, but his grin was pure adrenaline-fueled madness. Serenya stood beside him, obsidian blade humming with alien energy, her mask glinting in the moonlight. Her golden eyes burned like molten fire. The figures that emerged from the dust were no coyotes. They were armored, 8 feet tall, with glowing visors and weapons that pulsed with crackling plasma. Their voices boomed through the desert air. Valari fugitive identified. Surrender and be terminated. Eli squinted. Terminated? Did they just quote the Terminator at me? Serenya's hand tightened on her blade. Hunters, she hissed. They always send hunters first. The lead alien raised his weapon. Last warning. Eli spat into the dirt. Buddy, I've been divorced. You can't scare me. And with that, he fired the shotgun. The blast echoed like thunder, ripping through the desert night. Buckshot sparked harmlessly against the alien's armor, but the sheer audacity of it made them pause. Your weapon is primitive, the alien scoffed. Primitive, my ass. Eli pumped the shotgun again. This baby won whoa what and made Chuck Norris famous. Serenya lunged forward before the aliens could react. Her blade cut through the first hunter's weapon like it was tinfoil. Sparks and alien curses filled the air. Stay behind me, she barked. But Eli had other plans. He sprinted toward the barn, yelling over his shoulder, Cover me! I've got a plan! Inside the barn, chaos erupted. Eli threw open toolboxes, yanked open drawers, and muttered frantically, Think, Eli, think! What would MacGyver do? His eyes landed on a rusty lawnmower, 2 rolls of duct tape, and a box of old 4th of July fireworks he'd never used because the HOA complained. Oh yeah, he grinned. It's redneck time. Out. He duct-taped fireworks to the mower, jammed a brick on the accelerator, and shoved it toward the barn doors. Outside, Serenya was locked in a dance of death, her blade flashing in arcs of silver-blue light as she dueled 2 hunters at once. Plasma bolts hissed past her, scorching the dirt. Eli burst out of the barn, yelling, Yippee-ki-yay, mother! The lawnmower, belching sparks and trailing firecrackers, barreled into the hunters. The fireworks ignited all at once, exploding in a patriotic red, white, and blue inferno that would have made Uncle Sam weep. The aliens staggered back, blinded and disoriented. Serenya didn't waste the opening. She cut one down in a single blazing strike. Eli Mercer, she shouted over the chaos. You are utterly insane. Damn right, Eli cackled. Welcome to America. The battle spiraled into full-blown chaos. One hunter fired at Eli, the plasma bolt barely missing his head and blowing a hole in the ranch's water trough. Water gushed everywhere, flooding the dirt. Eli slipped, fell flat on his back, and somehow avoided another blast that sizzled over him. Holy crap, he shouted, scrambling up. Serenya, do something badass! She obliged. With a leap that defied gravity, Serenya vaulted over him, landed between Eli and the hunter, and slashed downward in a thunderous arc. The alien's weapons shattered, sparks raining. The hunter roared and swung its armored fist. Serenya caught it one-handed, muscles rippling, and crushed the gauntlet like it was made of clay. Eli blinked. Remind me never to arm wrestle you. But there were still more hunters. A half-dozen drones descended from the sky, whirring like angry hornets. Their red eyes glowed, targeting lasers sweeping across the ranch. Oh, fantastic, Eli groaned. They brought backup Roombas. The drones opened fire, plasma bolts scorching the barn roof. One shot ripped through the old Ford truck's hood. Eli's heart nearly broke. Not the truck! That thing's been in my family since Baywatch was still on the air. Serenia sliced 2 drones clean in half, their wreckage sparking in the dirt. Eli ducked behind a hay bale, reloading his shotgun with shaking hands. This is insane, he yelled. Why are they even after you? Because, Serenia growled, kicking a hunter back 10 feet. I was the last commander of the Valori. My DNA carries power. Whoever owns me owns the right to Valeri war codes. Eli blinked, sweat pouring down his face. Wait. You're telling me buying this ranch just made me a galactic warlord? Her golden eyes met his. Yes. Eli barked a manic laugh. Ha! And here I thought I was just getting a property tax bill. Another plasma bolt whizzed past, nearly singeing his hair. He dove behind an overturned water tank, cursing. All right, Eli, he muttered to himself. This is it. Do or die. Channel every dumb action hero you ever watched. He peeked out, shotgun ready. Say hello to my little friend, he yelled, blasting a drone out of the sky. Serenia glanced at him, mid-swing. Was that supposed to be intimidating? Hey, don't knock Scarface. The fight raged across the ranch. Chickens scattered, clucking madly. One particularly brave rooster leapt at a drone, pecking it until the machine spiraled into the dirt. Eli pointed, laughing hysterically. Yes, that's right. Cluck Norris, get him. Serenia sliced through the final hunter, its armor splitting in 2. The last drone exploded in a shower of sparks. The desert fell silent except for the sound of Eli's ragged breathing and the faint crackle of the still-burning lawnmower wreckage. Eli collapsed into the dirt, shotgun across his lap. Sweet, merciful Elvis, we're alive. Serenia stood over him, obsidian blade dripping with glowing alien fluid. Her mask gleamed in the moonlight. She didn't look even slightly winded. You fought well, she said simply. Eli groaned. Lady, I fought like a guy trying not to die in his own backyard. There's a difference. But then her voice grew dark. This was only the beginning. Now that they know you hold me, they will come in greater numbers. And not just hunters. Armies. Eli sat up slowly, heart pounding. Armies. She nodded gravely. You've made yourself a target. You, your world, your species. Eli stared at the smoking battlefield that used to be his peaceful ranch. His laugh came out half crazed, half horrified. Great, he muttered. Just great. I wanted a cheap ranch, maybe a little peace and quiet. Now I'm the main event in freaking alien WrestleMania. Serenia tilted her head. What is WrestleMania? He groaned, dragging a hand down his face. Oh, sweetheart, if you stick around, you're in for one hell of an education. By sunrise, Eli's ranch looked less like a farm and more like the set of a Michael Bay movie. The barn roof was scorched black, his water trough was melted into modern art, and 3 smoking alien corpses lay piled in what used to be his vegetable patch. Eli sat on the porch with an ice pack pressed to his shoulder and a beer in his free hand. Serenia stood beside him, still scanning the desert horizon with predator intensity. She hadn't slept, hadn't moved much, and hadn't removed the obsidian mask even once. You know, Eli muttered, sipping the beer, when I said I wanted my life to get more exciting, I was thinking more along the lines of winning $50 at bingo, not getting drafted into intergalactic gang wars. Serenia didn't answer. Her golden eyes flickered as if she were listening to something beyond human hearing. Finally, she said, the signal was broadcast. Every faction in the outer belt now knows the Valori bride is bound to you. Eli groaned. So what? We're on some kind of cosmic Craigslist now? For sale? One ranch comes with crazy warrior princess, slightly used lawnmower bomb? By noon, his sarcastic prediction came true. The first to arrive weren't soldiers. They were lawyers. Actual lawyers. 3 ships the size of buses landed in his pasture, kicking up dust clouds. Out stepped creatures in business suits, briefcases in hand, their foreheads lined with glowing veins. "Good day," one of them rasped, adjusting his tie. "We represent the Intergalactic Property Arbitration League. Your acquisition of Valeri Ranch is a violation of Treaty 776B, subsection 3. Eli spat into the dirt. "Buddy, I've been violating subsections since the day I got my driver's license." Serenia whispered, "Careful. These are legal enforcers. They have more power than armies." Sure enough, the lawyer creatures produced holographic scrolls 20 feet long, covered in incomprehensible glyphs. "You must surrender the property," one droned, "or face immediate repossession of your planet." Eli blinked. "Repossession? Like you're gonna tow Earth away?" "That is correct." "Well, that's new." Before Eli could argue further, a second group arrived. Pilgrims. Dozens of wide-eyed alien cultists, their robes glowing faintly, chanting in eerie unison. They dropped to their knees before Serenia, wailing, "The Valeri bride has chosen her mate. The prophecy is fulfilled." Eli stared. "What prophecy? I didn't choose squat. I just raised my hand at a shady auction." The cult leader held up a holy relic that suspiciously looked like a toaster. "It is written, 'The chosen one shall bind the bride upon land of dust and cattle.'" Serenia looked like she wanted the ground to swallow her whole. "They twist our history into religion," she muttered darkly. Eli facepalmed. "Great, so now I'm not just a galactic warlord, I'm also Space Jesus. Shoot me now." Things spiraled quickly. By sunset, the ranch yard was clogged with parked ships, interstellar news crews setting up cameras, and alien tourists selling "I the Valeri Bride" t-shirts. Eli sat in a lawn chair, beer in hand, watching chaos unfold. Serenia stood behind him, arms crossed, radiating fury. "Your species thrives on disorder," she muttered. Eli smirked. "Nah, we thrive on merch sales. Disorder's just the bonus." The U.S. government finally noticed something was off when CNN aired footage of a purple alien giving an interview next to Eli's chicken coop. By the next morning, black SUVs screeched down the dirt road, and men in suits poured out. Eli was halfway through a Pop-Tart when an agent in sunglasses barked, "Mr. Mercer, by order of Homeland Security, you are to relinquish control of this property." Eli sighed. "Buddy, get in line. Take a number. You're behind the space lawyers, the cultists, and the tourist bus from Alpha Centauri." The agent blinked, glanced at Serenia, then at the mob of aliens bartering outside the barn. He muttered into his earpiece, "Yeah, HQ, we've got a situation. Like Independence Day meets Tiger King level situation." Amid the chaos, Serenia struggled to adapt to Earth. Eli found her one evening crouched in front of the TV, watching old VHS tapes he'd stacked in a crate. On screen, friends flickered, grainy and cheerful. Serenia leaned forward, mask tilted, whispering, "Why do they not fight? Why do they sit in the cafe and discuss feelings?" Eli chuckled. "That's called a sitcom. It's sacred Earth tradition. We laugh at other people's problems because it distracts us from our own." She didn't laugh, but she didn't look away either. Later that night, she tried to imitate human courting rituals she'd learned from the tapes. She lit candles in the barn, brought Eli what she called a gift of honor, which turned out to be a plasma grenade, and then accidentally burned down half a haystack when she attempted to sing like Phoebe Buffay. Eli coughed through the smoke. "Yeah, points for effort, but maybe stick to warrior princessing, huh?" The farce escalated further when a warlord finally arrived. His ship descended like a steel mountain, casting a shadow over the entire ranch. The ground shook. His voice boomed through loudspeakers, translated into English by some miracle of cosmic tech. "Human, you are unworthy of Valeri Bride. By law of conquest, I challenge you. Eli stepped out onto the porch, shotgun in one hand, beer in the other. Yeah, hi. Can we schedule this duel for after my nap? The warlord snarled. We duel now, blade to blade. Eli muttered. Yeah, see? Here's the thing. I'm about as good with swords as I am at yoga, which is to say, not at all. He thought for a moment. Then a wicked grin spread across his face. But I'll tell you what. Where I come from, we don't duel with swords. We duel with bulls. 10 minutes later, the warlord stood in Eli's corral, armored from head to toe, straddling a snorting bull that clearly wanted him dead. The crowd of aliens and humans cheered wildly. Serenia stood beside Eli, eyes wide with disbelief. You cannot be serious, she whispered. Oh, I'm serious, Eli grinned. This is rodeo country, sweetheart. The bull bucked once, twice. On the third jump, the warlord screamed like a child, flipped over the fence and landed face first in a trough of alien lawyers. The crowd erupted. Aliens cheered, humans hooted, and someone started blasting Eye of the Tiger from a boombox. Serenia blinked. They now see you as stronger. You humiliated him. Eli raised his beer in triumph. Damn right. That's called cowboy justice. But the celebration didn't last. Serenia's voice grew low as the crowd dispersed. They will never stop coming, Eli. Not until they possess me or destroy me. He sipped his beer, gaze steady. Well then, we don't just play defense. Her golden eyes narrowed. What do you mean? We give them something to be scared of. He pointed at the ranch, at the cheering tourists, the stubborn chickens, the duct-taped lawnmower carcass. We make this place a fortress. We make it clear Earth ain't worth messing with. Serenia studied him, mask hiding her expression. You are reckless, foolish, unpredictable. Thanks, that's my whole brand. For a long moment she was silent, then softly. And yet, perhaps you are exactly what they fear most. The desert night was restless. Stars shimmered above, but none of them felt distant anymore. Each one seemed like a watchful eye, waiting for Eli Mercer to screw up. He sat on the porch of his ranch house, shotgun across his lap, boots propped on the railing. Serenia stood near the corral, her silhouette sharp against the glow of floodlights. She hadn't spoken for hours, her gaze locked skyward. Finally, she said, They are coming. Eli cracked open another beer. They always are. Question is, how many? Her golden eyes glowed faintly. All of them. By morning, the horizon was thick with ships. Dozens, then hundreds, warlords, bounty hunters, cultists, lawyers, mercenaries, all descending on one dirt ranch in Texas like moths to a bug zapper. News choppers buzzed overhead. Crowds of gawking humans gathered at the fence lines, holding signs that read, Take me to your leader, but not him, in Free Serenia. Eli tossed his empty can aside. Well, guess it's rodeo time. Serenia tilted her head. You intend to fight them with cattle? Eli grinned. Not just cattle, with everything Texas has to offer. Preparations began at dawn. Eli and Serenia turned the ranch into a madhouse of improvised defenses. The barn became a bunker lined with fertilizer explosives. The tractor was armored with scrap metal and painted like a shark. The chicken coop was rigged with motion sensors and, for reasons Eli refused to, explain bottle rockets. And in the center corral, 15 of Eli's angriest bulls were fitted with jury-rigged shock, collars and spray-painted with racing stripes. This is not strategy, Serenia muttered as Eli strapped dynamite to a scarecrow. This is chaos. Exactly, Eli said. Chaos is what we do best. By noon, the first wave hit. Dozens of armored raiders stormed across the pasture, plasma rifles blazing. The ground shook under their boots. Serenia raised her blade, ready to strike, but Eli beat her to it. He whistled sharp, and the corral gates burst open. The bulls thundered forward like living tanks, horns tipped with welded scrap, eyes wild. They smashed into the raiders with bone-cracking force, tossing armored bodies into the air. Plasma bolts sizzled uselessly off charging hides. The crowd of humans watching from the hills erupted in cheers. CNN's broadcast instantly titled it, "The Battle of Bull Run 2.0. Serenia blinked in astonishment. They are beasts." Eli grinned. "Nope, they're Texans." The second wave came from the skies. Sleek hunter drones swooped low, spitting fire. Eli ducked, yelling, "Now, chickens!" At that command, the coop doors burst open. 100 furious hens, startled by rocket fireworks, exploded into the sky like feathered missiles. The drone's sensors scrambled as flapping wings swarmed their cameras. One hen, Eli swore it was old Bessie, latched onto a drone engine, triggering a fireball that lit up the pasture. Serenia stared at the raining feathers in disbelief. "You weaponized poultry." "Damn right," Eli said proudly. First Air Force of Cluck. The third wave was worse, cultists chanting, marching in unison, trying to breach the house with relics and holy fire. Serenia leapt into them, blade flashing like lightning. She moved with terrifying grace, carving through zealots who screamed her name like a hymn. Eli covered her from the porch, shotgun booming. Between shots, he muttered, "Never thought I'd see the day my date's fan club tried to kill me." Serenia spun, mask gleaming, voice like steel. "You are not my date." Eli grinned. "Could have fooled me." But then the warlords arrived. 5 of them, giants in spiked armor, each commanding their own army. They stepped onto Eli's land like conquerors, their banners glowing with alien fire. The leader, scarred and monstrous, roared across the battlefield, "Human, you are nothing. Give us the bride or die screaming." Eli spat in the dirt. "Y'all keep saying that like it's an option." He tossed his empty beer aside, cocked his shotgun, and walked forward. Serenia moved to his side, her golden eyes blazing. "For the record," Eli muttered, "I don't got a plan for this part." "For the record," Serenia said softly, "neither do I." The final showdown was chaos incarnate. Explosions shook the ground. Bulls crashed into tanks. Chickens dive-bombed from above. Serenia danced between warlords, her blades sparking against their armor, her mask never slipping. Eli fought like a madman, switching between shotgun, tractor, and pure fists when ammo ran dry. He even lassoed one warlord, yanking the brute off his feet and into a manure pit. But the enemy kept coming. For every raider downed, 2 more surged forward. The sky itself seemed to darken under the weight of ships. At last, the scarred leader seized Serenia, dragging her mask close to his clawed face. "You belong to us," he bellowed. The mask cracked under the force. A sliver of her face was revealed. Smooth, luminous skin glowing faintly, alien and heartbreakingly beautiful. The warlord froze. His grip faltered. Even he couldn't resist the instinct triggered by her DNA. Serenia whispered, voice trembling, "This is why I hide, because they all lose themselves." The warlord's eyes glazed with obsession. He dropped his weapon, reaching for her as if entranced. That's when Eli acted. He slammed the butt of his shotgun into the warlord's jaw, breaking the trance. "She ain't your prize, buddy." He pulled Serenia behind him. "She's my partner, and this is my damn ranch." Something changed then. Serenia looked at Eli, not as protector, not as accident, but as choice. For the first time, she reached up and touched his hand. Through the mask, her voice was a whisper. "Then I stand with you." Together, they launched into the final charge. Eli drove the armored tractor straight into the warlord's line, Serenia leaping from its hood like a comet, slicing through their ranks. Bulls trampled what was left, chickens set fire to the rest, and the ranch lit up like Judgment Day. By dawn, the field was silent. Wrecked ships smoldered across the pasture. Dead warlords lay broken, survivors limped away. The cultists had fled. The lawyers were buried under hay. And at the center of it all, Eli and Serenia stood side by side, battered, scorched, but unbroken. Eli dropped onto the porch steps, lungs heaving. Serenia stood beside him, mask cracked, golden eyes burning through. Well, Eli coughed, guess that's what you'd call a rodeo of the apocalypse. She tilted her head. And we survived. Damn right, he grinned, even through bloodied lips. And if they come back, we'll give them an encore. For a long moment, she was silent. Then she lowered her head, the mask nearly touching his shoulder. Softly, almost like a confession. Perhaps I no longer wear this mask for protection. Perhaps I wear it because without it, you would see too much of me. Eli chuckled weakly. Darling, I already see more than you think. And for the first time, Serenia didn't pull away. The ranch was in ruins. The world was watching. But in that quiet dawn, something new had been born. Not fear, not war, but the beginning of a bond that no galaxy could break. The end.